Hello everyone, welcome to Integrated Medical Biochemistry with Dr. Bijoya. This topic is physical characteristics of urine. Physical characteristics can be examined by direct visual observation. Every body fluid should be first examined by direct visual observation. A normal fresh urine is pale colored, it may be dark yellow or amber colored. Appearance is clear. Its volume is between 750 to 2000 ml per 24 hours. The physical examination involves color, transparency, odor, volume, pH, and specific gravity. From these six characteristics, one can come to know a lot about the patient's conditions and it helps in further diagnosis. In order to start with the biochemical analysis of urine, first we need to collect the urine sample. Now, you must be aware that urine collection and analysis is one of the most popular uh, body fluids to be tested in the hospital all over the world. So, the sample collection of urine includes the first early morning specimen, a single random specimen at any time of the day, a double voided specimen to test sugar and acetone, uh, which means that the first few ml and the last few ml of the urine has to be voided. Then the clean catch midstream specimen, a catheterized, and a suprapubic intra-abdominal collection. So the catheterized specimen is generally taken from people who are bedridden, are unable to void any urine, and the suprapubic intra-abdominal collections are also taken in case of pediatric cases where the patient is unable to uh, pass urine or there is a very small volume of urine that is being formed. Now let us look at the appearance and its significance. When urine is clear, it is considered normal urine, and a normal urine is straw colored. Cloudy opalescent urine is generally due to precipitation of phosphates on refrigeration. Sometimes there is presence of pus. This may also cause cloudiness. High color can be due to concentrated urine oxidation of urobilinogen to urobilin. Yellow colored urine is seen in bilirubinuria due to the presence of bile salts or bile pigments in jaundice, or it may be due to vitamin B complex intake. Presence of blood uh, shows smoky red color. Brownish red color is seen in hemoglobinuria. Orange color is seen in high levels of bilirubin or due to certain drugs, for example, rifampicin. Red colored urine is seen in porphyria or due to ingestion of red beet. Black urine is seen in alkaptonuria and milky white urine is seen in chyluria. Now, the specific gravity is one of the physical characteristics of urine. It depends on the concentration of various solutes in the urine and it is measured by urinometer, refractometer, or dipstick method. So, there are three methods by which the specific gravity can be measured. The dipstick method includes various reagent pads and this is out, you can perform it easily outside the lab, and each pad consists of different reagents sensitive to the chemicals or molecules it is going to detect. The next method is the refractometer method. This test measures refractive index of urine. A few drops of clear urine is placed on the glass surface of the refractometer and look through the meter towards the light source. The specific gravity of urine is recorded. So this is how it is done. The urinometer is a hydrometer. So then another name for urinometer is hydrometer, that is calibrated to measure specific gravity of urine at a specific temperature, which is usually 20 degrees. So if the temperature is more or less than 20 degrees, accordingly the temperature corrections have to be made, and this is very important for all to remember. Based on the principle of buoyancy, which means floating ability, so that the urinometer will float higher in the urine than in water, because urine is denser. So thus the higher the specific gravity of a specimen, the higher the urinometer will float. So this is the principle of urinometer which you must remember. Now this is the parts of urinometer, which includes the stem. In the stem lies the buoyancy factor, which is interpreted as per specific gravity, and this central part floats in the urine, and the lower part consists of the weight, which enables the urinometer to displace the amount of fluid and allow it to float. So here the values are written as per the specific gravity: 1.000 into 1.060, and the in between calibrations are also mentioned so that the uh, specific gravity can be easily read. Now, whenever you are measuring specific gravity, you have to look at the lower meniscus. So, we will also be showing you a live demonstration of carrying out specific gravity measurement with the help of urinometer.
So today we are going to discuss about the physical characteristics of urine, which is extremely important in urine analysis. Urine analysis includes the physical examination. Here you can see three samples in your view. Currently we are showing you two. First one is normal urine, which is straw colored and clear. The second one is slightly dark yellowish, so it is a sample of bilirubin urea. Third sample has cloudy appearance and it is pinkish in color, so it is a hematuria. The fourth sample is a sample of overhydration, and the fifth sample is of protein urea because it appears frothy and a little turbid, and the sixth sample is a sample of dehydration. Now, with the help of litmus paper, we can measure the pH of the urine, which may be acidic or basic, and for exact pH we can use the pH strip, whereas for the abnormal constituents of urine we can use uristicks. This is a urinometer. This urinometer is used to measure the specific gravity of urine. This is another widely used method apart from uristicks method. Now it works on the principle of buoyancy, where the heuristics is first suspended in a jar which contains urine, which is 75% filled with the urine sample, and it is rotated. Then it is allowed to stabilize, and once it has stabilized, we will come to know the displacement in terms of specific gravity. That is, more the solute, more will be the specific gravity. So once it has stabilized, we'll see the scale for specific gravity given here. This is calibrated for 20 degrees. So if the room temperature is more, then the temperature calibration has to be done accordingly, for which there is a calculation provided.
Now, these are few conditions which indicate increased specific gravity. So, it is very important for you to understand why specific gravity is so important in case of urine, because it helps you to understand various conditions. So, the conditions related to specific gravity are hypersthenuria, hyposthenuria, and isosthenuria. So, let us look at hypersthenuria. There is increased specific gravity. The normal range of specific gravity is 1.010 to 1.030. The increased solutes in urine increases the specific gravity, which may be due to dehydration. If specific gravity is more than 1.035, it is frank dehydration. So generally, whenever there is loss of water, there is increased specific gravity, which can be in dehydration, diarrhea, emesis, excessive sweating, UTI, glucosuria, and decreased blood flow to the kidney also results to hypersthenuria. Now, hyposthenuria is the decreased specific gravity. Hyposthenuria shows a specific gravity less than 1.008, and it is associated with renal failure, pyelonephritis, diabetes insipidus, acute tubular necrosis, interstitial nephritis, and excessive fluid intake. In neonates, however, the normal urine specific gravity is 1.003 because the neonate is on mother's milk. Isosthenuria is a constant specific gravity, and the uh, specific gravity of urine becomes fixed irrespective of the fluid intake. The kidneys cannot form urine with higher or lower specific gravity than that of protein free plasma. So the tubules are unable to reabsorb the water. So isosthenuria, the level remains between 1.008 to 1.014, and it is associated with more than 75% of non-functioning renal tubules, chronic renal failure, hypercalcemia, and administration of diuretics such as furosemide. So I hope you liked what I said. So for more videos, like, share and subscribe to my channel. Don't forget to hit the bell icon. Thank you.